Hey guys, this is Wade Barrett versus Ezekiel Jackson, the predictions game video for that match from Capital Punishment. Obviously, this is an online match as always. I'm playing as Ezekiel Jackson because that's my pick to win the match. And I absolutely sucked in this match. I mean, I can't play at all with Ezekiel Jackson. I can't play at all with Ezekiel Jackson. I can't play with John Cena. I can't play with those guys. I can't reverse good. I'm horrible with those guys. I'm comfortable with guys like Edge, Jack Swagger, CM Punk, sometimes Randy Orton, and a couple other guys. I can play well with those characters, but the big guys and John Cena, just can't play with them well. Anyways, this isn't the WWE predictions game official video though. If you guys want to give me your predictions, there's going to be an annotation in this video which will direct you to the official WWE predictions game video for Capital Punishments, which is the Randy versus Christian video. So you guys can give me your predictions on that video. This is just, a video for me to give you guys my thoughts on the feud so far, my thoughts on the match, who do I think is going to win. Well, I told you guys who I think is going to win, but my thoughts overall on both Ezekiel, Wade Barrett, stuff like that. So, Ezekiel Jackson and Wade Barrett this Sunday. Like I said, I think Ezekiel Jackson's going to win. And it looks like they're going to try and push Ezekiel Jackson hard. Seems they're trying to do the same with Mason Ryan on Raw, except it seems like Mason Ryan's push has died down a bit, while Ezekiel Jackson's push hasn't. And when Ezekiel Jackson debuted, I thought that Ezekiel Jackson was going to become a main eventer, pretty damn soon. Yet, I don't know, how many years has he been in the WWE now? About 2 years or so. But, he still hasn't become a main eventer. I thought that Ezekiel Jackson was going to be one of those guys that they push pretty quick to the main event scene. But it's like a lot of things have stopped Ezekiel Jackson from reaching that level. I mean, first off, I think it was an injury he got. Then he was like drafted to SmackDown. And then, I don't know, what the hell happened afterwards? Or did he get the injury on SmackDown? I don't know. On ECW, he became ECW champion, which I think a lot of people forgot, myself included. I just remembered it like right now. And after becoming ECW champion, he was the last ECW champion, by the way. He went to SmackDown, and it looked good for him. He had a couple of victories. Then I think he got injured. Yeah, pretty sure he got injured. After he got injured, he was out for a while, and then he was drafted to Raw. And I think he didn't last long on Raw. He was a face on Raw, and I don't know. He didn't last that long. He got a couple matches, and then he got drafted back to SmackDown. So I think the quick drafts, have slowed him down a bit. Since going from brand to brand, he basically had to start over again. And when he was drafted back to SmackDown, instead of having a singles run, they put him in the core, which, I don't know if some might see it as a positive, some might see it as a negative, but I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if... No, you know what? Ezekiel Jackson in the core has probably, benefited him. What benefited him? Sorry. Benefited him. What the hell? Yeah, I mean, he was in the core. He basically got the Batista treatment. He went out on his own. He left the core on his own terms, I guess. Well, he left. No, not really on his own terms. I mean, he left, but he got the shit beat out of him by all three members. But the positive side is he's getting an IC title shot, and he's probably gonna win the match and win the title. So that's another title on his resume. I mean, let's face it, the ECW doesn't mean shit. But you know what? The IC title doesn't really mean shit, these days either. But it's an extra title, so they'll be like, oh, Ezekiel Jackson, he's a former ECW champion, and he's a former Intercontinental champion. Well, I don't know if they're gonna say he's a former ECW champion, because the belt isn't there anymore. So they might just mention the IC title and that's it. I don't know. I don't know if they're afraid to mention the word ECW because the ECW is gone now. Just like they're afraid to mention the word wrestling. I don't know why, but whatever. Now when it comes to Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett. When Wade Barrett debuted on Raw, I saw big things for him, especially because he debuted he had a huge debut, huge impact. Leader of the Nexus, they came in, they freaking beat the shit out of everybody in the arena. They tore the ring up, they, destroyed John Cena, and things look good for Wade Barrett. Everything, pointed to the direction that Wade Barrett was gonna be champion pretty damn soon, especially with the fact that he was facing Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, and John Cena was in his corner in one of the matches, but no, he lost that one. And then the next match was Wade Barrett versus Randy Orton in the rematch, but John Cena was a special guest referee. And if John Cena was to, make Wade Barrett win the match, John Cena could get out of the Nexus. But if Randy Orton won, well, John Cena was fired. So, when that match was announced, a lot of us thought that, hey, John Cena was either going to turn heel or something, or just, make Randy Orton lose but still remain a face, and Wade Barrett would become, WWE champion. But no, they decided to make Wade Barrett lose and do the whole John Cena's fired, except he was like fired for 1 week only. What the fuck? That was just one of the dumbest things ever. Yeah, and from then on, just Wade Barrett just lost a couple matches. He lost a rematch for the WWE Championship, and the Nexus started breaking up, and then CM Punk came, kicked Wade Barrett out. Wade Barrett got drafted to SmackDown. Now, once Wade Barrett got drafted to SmackDown, he started the core. We were like, oh, hey, it's like there's two Nexus groups. We didn't know back then that the group was called the Core the first night, because they didn't say it. So we were like, oh, there's two Nexus groups now. It's like NWO, Black and Whites, and NWO, Black and Reds. One on Raw, one on SmackDown. We thought that was pretty cool, and that there was two Nexus groups. But then they announced that it's called the Core, so it's not Nexus. I don't know, version 2 or some shit like that. But it was a new group, kinda. It was basically the Nexus, minus a few members plus Ezekiel Jackson. But yeah, he had the Core. He beat up. They started pretty good. They started with beating up Edge, who was a world champion at the time. But then, as time went on, the Core just started, losing a lot of matches, getting buried, just not looking good at all. And then, Wade Barrett won the IC title. He actually won the IC title when the Core, I think, was doing pretty well for themselves. He beat Kofi Kingston for the IC title. And then, I guess, like I said, the Core started breaking down. And, this past week, or, last week, the Core, they split up. So now Wade Barrett is on his own. I don't know where Wade Barrett goes from there. Like I said, I think he's going to lose the title this Sunday. But one good thing that might happen is, seeing as there's not many, top heels on SmackDown, really, that can win the Money in the Bank. I'm seeing, I think that if Christian doesn't win the Money in the Bank at the pay-per-view, it's going to be Wade Barrett. I just don't see Sheamus winning the Money in the Bank. I don't see Mark Henry winning the Money in the Bank. And I don't see Kane winning the Money in the Bank either again. So like I said, if Christian doesn't win Money in the Bank, I think Wade Barrett's a pretty safe pick. As for the Raw Money in the Bank, I can see a lot of guys there having a chance at winning it, like The Miz, Del Rio, John Morrison, who else? If they're trying to make CM Punk, I guess, stay, maybe they can make CM Punk win, or Dolph Ziggler. There's a lot of guys on Raw that could win the Money in the Bank. Speaking of Money in the Bank, I do think that the fact that they took out the Money in the Bank from WrestleMania is a bad decision. I think that Money in the Bank, if it were at WrestleMania, would have made WrestleMania 27 better. The Money in the Bank match has always been, entertaining and fun to watch. So, I don't know. I'm hoping next year they put it, but they probably won't. It's probably gonna stay at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. You know, one Raw Money in the Bank match and one SmackDown Money in the Bank match. But it's cool. Next here we got The Rock versus John Cena, which should be an awesome match. It's basically this generation, this year's The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. And hopefully WWE doesn't fuck that much up. And, you know, speaking of fucking things up, what about WrestleMania 25? One of the worst WrestleManias in my opinion. Randy Orton versus Triple H. They had a huge build-up for their feud, their match. They had awesome promos and all that. But the match turned out to be shit. Hopefully that isn't the case with John Cena versus The Rock. I doubt it's going to be the case. So, I win the match with the Torture Rack. Yes, I did put the Torture Rack submission on Ezekiel Jackson. So, you know, it could be like in real life, I guess. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this match. I am out. See ya.